they disrespect you, the disrespect is consistent, is pattern that repeats, is them treating you in ways that communicate you don't matter enough to show up for, don't matter enough to reciprocate effort for, don't matter enough to prioritize, don't matter enough to keep promises to. The disrespect manifests in specific ways, manifests through them cancelling plans last minute without considering your time, through them ignoring your needs while expecting you to accommodate theirs, through them taking you for granted while you consistently show up, through them being emotionally unavailable while benefiting from your emotional availability, through them withdrawing when you need presence, through them being inconsistent when you provide consistency, through them treating your needs as optional while treating their comfort as mandatory. All disrespect, all patterns, all them treating you in ways that communicate, you're not important enough for me to honor you the way you honor me. The disrespect hurts. Hurts because you're giving respect while receiving disrespect. Hurts because treatment is unequal. Hurts because you're honoring them while they're dishonoring you. Hurts because you matter to them less than they matter to you. The hurt accumulates over time, accumulates through repeated pattern of disrespectful treatment, accumulates until hurt becomes resentment, until resentment makes you question relationship, until questioning makes you consider whether staying with someone who disrespects you is betraying yourself. You've tried addressing disrespect, tried explaining how behavior hurts, tried asking them to treat you better, tried setting boundaries. But explaining doesn't work. They listen and continue disrespecting. Asking doesn't work. They agree to change and patterns persist. Boundaries don't work. They apologize for violating and violate again. Nothing works because words without consequences don't change behavior. Explanations without enforcement don't create respect. Requests without requirements don't motivate different treatment. But there's something different. Something that works where explaining fails. Something that creates respect where asking creates empty promises. Something that changes their behavior where boundaries without enforcement changes nothing. There are specific words. Words that communicate something different than explaining communicates. Words that create consequence where explaining creates understanding without change. Words that enforce boundary where asking requests without requiring. Words that shift dynamic in ways that make disrespect costly instead of cost-free. Words that make respecting you necessary instead of optional. Words that change their calculation about whether they can continue treating you disrespectfully without losing you. Understanding what these words are, what makes them effective where other communication fails, why they create respect when explanations don't, how to say them in ways that create actual behavior change, helps you see what actually works with avoidant psychology that disrespects you until disrespect becomes too costly to continue. Why your previous communication hasn't worked, what explaining and asking accomplish versus what they don't. Understanding why previous attempts to address disrespect failed helps you see what's missing from communication that doesn't create behavior change. Explaining gives them information without consequence. They know the behavior hurts, but continue because knowing doesn't cost them anything. You explain. Explain how their canceling last minute hurts. Explain how their emotional unavailability makes you feel unseen. Explain how their taking you for granted makes you feel unvalued. Explain how their disrespect is damaging relationship. The explaining gives them information. Information about your pain. Information about impact of their behavior. Information about what their patterns are costing you. They receive information. They understand. They know their behavior hurts you. They know patterns are damaging. They know disrespect is creating problems. And they continue. Continue the behavior. Continue the patterns. Continue the disrespect. Why? Because knowing doesn't cost them anything. Information without consequence is just information. Doesn't create motivation to change. Doesn't make continuing behavior costly. Doesn't create penalty for continuing patterns. They know, and they continue because knowing their behavior hurts, you doesn't hurt them enough to stop behavior. Your pain from their disrespect is information they have, isn't consequence they experience. Information about your pain without them experiencing consequence for causing pain doesn't motivate behavior change, doesn't make disrespect costly, doesn't create urgency to treat you better, just makes them informed about impact while impact remains cost-free for them to create. The explaining teaches them, I can hurt her, and she'll explain how it hurts, and then accept my apology and stay. Nothing changes. No cost for hurting, no consequence for disrespecting. Just information followed by forgiveness, followed by staying. Information without cost doesn't change behavior. Teaches them disrespect is sustainable because explaining the hurt doesn't create cost for causing hurt. Asking makes respect conditional on their choice, giving them power to decide whether to honor you. Teaching them disrespect is optional, not required. You ask. Ask them to show up consistently. Ask them to reciprocate effort. Ask them to honor commitments. Ask them to treat you with respect. The asking makes respect optional, makes it their choice, makes honoring you something they can choose to do or choose not to do, makes treating you well conditional on their decision rather than required for relationship continuation. The optionality doesn't motivate change, doesn't create respect, creates them deciding, do I feel like honoring this request or not? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. When they feel like it, they treat you better temporarily. When they don't feel like it, they continue disrespect. The inconsistency is what asking creates. Creates respect, being optional based on their mood, their comfort, their convenience. But relationship requirement creates different dynamic. Creates respect being mandatory, not optional. Creates honoring you being required for relationship continuation, not requested as favor. Creates treating you well, being non-negotiable condition, not nice to have preference. Asking keeps respect in optional category. Keeps it as something you're requesting they choose to give. Keeps power with them. Power to decide whether to honor request or ignore request. The power with them doesn't serve you, doesn't create consistent respect, doesn't make honoring you mandatory. Creates them having option to disrespect and choosing disrespect when disrespect feels more comfortable than respect. Asking teaches them, respect is optional. She's requesting it. I can choose whether to give it. No consequence if I don't. Relationship continues either way. Teaching makes disrespect sustainable, makes honoring you optional, makes respect conditional on their choosing rather than required for your staying. Previous boundaries lacked enforcement, stating limits without following through, teaches them boundaries are suggestions, not requirements. You set boundaries, state limits, say what behavior is unacceptable, say what you need to feel respected, say what must change for relationship to continue. The stating communicates limits, communicates what's required, communicates what's not okay. But stating without enforcing is just stating, is just communication without consequence, is just words that sound like requirements, but function as suggestions because violation doesn't produce stated consequence. You say, if you cancel last minute again without valid reason, we're done. They cancel. You don't leave. You say, if you keep taking me for granted, I can't do this anymore. They continue taking for granted. You continue doing this. You say, I need reciprocal effort or I'm choosing myself. They don't reciprocate. You don't choose yourself. All stated boundaries, all violated, all without enforcement. The pattern teaches them. Her boundaries are suggestions. She states consequences, but doesn't enforce consequences. I can violate without actually losing her. Boundaries without teeth. Limits without enforcement. Requirements that aren't actually required. The teaching makes boundaries meaningless, makes them words without weight, makes stated consequences into empty threats, makes your limits into preferences you state, but don't enforce. They learn. She'll set boundaries, and I can violate boundaries, and she'll stay anyway. She'll state consequences, and consequences won't happen. She'll say what's required, and I cannot meet requirements without losing relationship. All learning that makes boundaries ineffective, that makes stated limits irrelevant, that makes your requirements into optional suggestions. Boundaries without enforcement, teach them boundaries don't matter. Teach them disrespect is sustainable despite boundaries. Teach them stating isn't enforcing, and they can continue behavior despite stated limits because stated limits aren't enforced limits. The specific words that create actual change, what communication finally makes. Disrespect too costly to continue. There are specific words that accomplish what explaining and asking don't accomplish. Understanding these words helps you communicate in ways that create actual respect. I'm choosing myself, not threatening, not explaining, just stating the choice you're making regardless of their response. The words that work, I'm choosing myself, not, I need you to respect me or I'll have to choose myself, not, if you don't change, I might have to leave, not, I can't keep doing this if nothing changes. Those are conditional. Those are threats. Those are stating consequence that depends on their behavior. Those keep power with them. Those make your choice conditional on what they do. I'm choosing myself is different. Is statement of choice you're making. Choice that's already decided. Choice that's happening regardless of their behavior. Choice that doesn't depend on them changing or not changing. Choice that's about you choosing you independent of what they choose to do. The statement removes conditionality, removes their power over your choice, removes dependence on their behavior, makes choice yours completely. The words work because they communicate. This isn't negotiation. This isn't threat designed to motivate your changing. This isn't me stating what might happen if you don't improve. This is me stating what is happening. I'm choosing myself, choosing my well-being over relationship that's not serving my well-being, choosing my needs over accommodating your defended position, choosing respecting myself over accepting your disrespect. The statement is final, is decided, is not open for negotiation or discussion about whether they'll change. It's just, I'm choosing myself. The finality is what creates impact. Creates it because no wiggle room exists. No conditionality they can negotiate. No threat they can talk you out of. No consequence they can prevent through promise and change. Just choice. Your choice. Choice you're making. Choice that's happening. The happening is what makes words effective where explaining failed. This is what I'm doing. Explaining your action, not requesting their permission. Communicating decision, not seeking approval. Related words. This is what I'm doing. Not, what do you think I should do? Not, I'm considering leaving if things don't improve. Not, do you think we should take a break? Those are seeking. Seeking their input. Seeking their permission. Seeking their approval. Seeking makes your choice about them, about what they think, about what they want, about whether they agree. This is what I'm doing is different, is statement of action you're taking. Action that's decided. Action that's happening, whether they approve or not. Action that doesn't require their agreement. Action that's yours to take based on your needs, not theirs to approve based on their preferences. The statement communicates, I'm not asking permission. I'm not seeking approval. I'm not requesting your agreement. I'm informing you of what I'm doing, what's happening, what my decision is. The words work because they remove their power to influence your decision through arguing or promising or manipulating. Decision is made. Action is happening. Their approval is irrelevant. Their opinion doesn't change what you're doing. Their promises don't alter your action. Their manipulation doesn't affect your decision. You're doing what you're doing because it serves you, because it protects you, because it's what choosing yourself requires. Their response to what you're doing is theirs to manage. Your doing is yours to execute. Separation of your action from their response is what makes words effective. Makes them effective by communicating. You don't control my choices through your responses. I control my choices through my needs. I'm doing this. This is happening. Your approval or disapproval is irrelevant to my doing. The irrelevance of their response is what creates their crisis. Creates crisis because they can't prevent your action through usual strategies. Can't talk you out of it. Can't promise change that stops it. Can't manipulate you into not doing. Can only experience you doing what you're doing. I'm not available for this anymore. Withdrawing availability without explaining why. Making unavailability your boundary. Not their behavior, the problem. The words, I'm not available for this anymore. Not, your behavior makes me feel like I need distance. Not, I can't keep accepting how you treat me. Not, you need to change, or I have to protect myself. Those make it about them, about their behavior, about what they're doing that's causing your response. I'm not available for this anymore makes it about you, about your availability, about your choice to withdraw availability, about you deciding this, whatever this is, the dynamic, the disrespect, the relationship, isn't something you're available for anymore. The focus on your availability instead of on their behavior shifts dynamic. Shifts it by making problem your unavailability, not their disrespect. Makes solution not them changing behavior, but them accepting your unavailability. The words work because they prevent defending. Prevent them defending their behavior. Prevent them explaining why behavior isn't as bad as you think. Prevent them justifying patterns. Prevent them making excuses. All prevented because you're not attacking their behavior, not criticizing their patterns, not explaining why their treatment is problematic. Just stating, I'm not available for this. Not available is statement about you, about your boundary, about your choice. Doesn't invite defending because you're not accusing, not explaining why behavior is wrong, not requesting they change, just withdrawing availability. The withdrawing can't be defended against, can't be argued with, can't be explained away, can only be accepted or rejected. If they accept, they lose access because you're unavailable. If they reject, they lose access because you're unavailable regardless of their rejection. Either way, your unavailability is your boundary. They can't cross through defending or explaining or justifying. My decision is final. Ending negotiation before it starts, communicating no argument will change what you've decided. The words, my decision is final, not, I think this is what's best, but I'm open to discussing. Not, unless something changes dramatically, I'm probably going to need to do this. Not, I've decided, but I'm willing to reconsider if you can prove things will be different. Those leave room. Leave room for negotiation. Leave room for them talking you out of decision. Leave room for promises changing your mind. Leave room for manipulation preventing your action. My decision is final. Leaves no room. No room for negotiation. No room for talking you out of it. No room for promises affecting it. No room for discussing whether decision is right. Decision is made. Decision is final. Discussion is closed. Negotiation is prevented. The finality is what makes words powerful. The words work because they communicate absolute. Communicate. Arguing won't change this. Promising won't alter this. Discussing won't affect this. Manipulating won't prevent this. Decision is final, is done, is not open for reconsideration, is not subject to negotiation, is not dependent on what you say in response, is final, regardless of your response. The regardless is what creates their recognizing. I can't prevent this through usual strategies, can't talk her out of it, can't promise change that stops it, can't manipulate her into reconsidering, can't negotiate my way out of this consequence. Decision is final, is happening, is not preventable through my responding. Only thing I can control is how I respond to final decision, not whether final decision happens. The recognition of their powerlessness to prevent is what creates crisis. Creates crisis by forcing them to face. I've lost control. She's choosing herself. Decision is final. Nothing I say changes this. All crisis-creating recognition that makes respect suddenly necessary when disrespect was previously cost-free. The uncomfortable mirror turn. If you're seeking words that control their behavior, examine whether you're choosing yourself or trying to change them. But examine why you're seeking words that make them respect you. Why finding right words to say feels important. Why communication that changes their behavior is goal. Because if you're genuinely choosing yourself, if you're genuinely done with disrespect, if you're genuinely ready to leave someone who doesn't honor you, you don't need words that change them. You need words that state your choice, words that communicate your boundary, words that express your action. Words aren't about making them respect you. Words are about you respecting yourself enough to choose yourself when someone disrespects you. The distinction is crucial. Seeking words to make them change is still organizing around them, still making your choice, dependent on their response, still hoping right words create their transformation, still oriented toward changing them instead of toward choosing yourself. This orientation means you're not ready to choose yourself. You're ready to try one more strategy for making them treat you better. You're hoping right words create behavior change that wrong words didn't create. You're still believing relationship can work if you just communicate correctly enough. You're still organized around getting them to respect you instead of around respecting yourself by leaving someone who doesn't respect you. The still organizing around them means words won't work the way you're hoping. Won't work because you're using words as strategy to change them instead of using words to state choice you're making, regardless of whether they change. Words that work aren't words that make them respect you, are words that state you're choosing yourself whether they respect you or not. The whether or not is what makes words effective, makes them effective by communicating. I'm not trying to change you. I'm stating what I'm doing. Your changing or not changing is irrelevant to my doing. I'm choosing myself. That's final. That's happening. Your response doesn't affect my choice. Stop seeking words that change them. Start using words that state choosing yourself. Stop organizing around making them respect you. Start organizing around respecting yourself by choosing yourself when disrespected. Stop hoping right words create their transformation. Start communicating your transformation. Transformation from person who accepts disrespect to person who chooses themselves when disrespected. The transformation is what words should communicate, not strategy to change them. Statement of change in you. Change from accepting to choosing yourself. Change from explaining hurt to stating boundary. Change from requesting respect to withdrawing from disrespect. Words communicate your change, your choice, your decision. Their response is irrelevant. Your stating is what matters. State clearly. State finally. State without needing their agreement or approval or change. Just state. That's using words correctly. That's what serves you. That's choosing yourself through communication instead of trying to change them through communication. How to say the words. Delivery that makes communication effective. Understanding how to say words helps you deliver communication in ways that create actual impact instead of creating argument or negotiation. Say them calmly, without emotion. Emotional delivery invites defending. Calm delivery communicates decision, not attack. How you say matters as much as what you say. Say words calmly, without emotion, without anger, without tears, without voice shaking, without dramatic delivery, calm, even, measured, matter of fact. The calm delivery is crucial, is what prevents defending, prevents them getting defensive, prevents them feeling attacked, prevents them responding to your emotion instead of to your words. Emotional delivery says, I'm upset and I'm expressing upset through these words. Invites them responding to upset, responding by defending, by explaining why you shouldn't be upset, by minimizing what's upsetting you, by managing your emotion instead of hearing your words. Calm delivery says, I'm stating decision. Decision isn't emotional, is clear, is final. is communicated calmly because it's not attack, is statement. Statement of choice, statement of boundary, statement of action. The statement quality is what calm creates. Creates them hearing words, not responding to emotion. Deliver words calmly. Deliver with even tone. Deliver like stating fact. Deliver without trying to make them feel guilty or bad. Deliver without trying to hurt them with delivery. Deliver as information, as statement, as communication of what is happening. The neutral delivery prevents their defending, prevents argument, prevents negotiation, prevents them getting caught in emotional response instead of hearing actual words. Calm delivery creates hearing, creates them receiving communication, creates words landing instead of being deflected by defensive response to emotional delivery. Say calmly. That's how words work. That's how communication creates impact. That's how stating becomes heard instead of defended against. Say them once without repeating. Repetition suggests negotiation is possible. Single statement communicates finality. Say words once only. Don't repeat. Don't rephrase. Don't explain again. Don't say same thing different ways. Say once and stop. The single saying is what creates finality, creates it by communicating. I'm saying this once. This is statement. Statement doesn't require repetition, doesn't need rephrasing, doesn't need multiple explanations. It's said once because once is sufficient for statement that's final. Repeating suggests, I'm trying to convince you. I need you to understand. I want you to agree. I'm negotiating. All suggestion that words aren't final. That decision is open for discussion. That stating is opening for negotiation. Single saying prevents suggestion, prevents implying negotiation is possible, prevents communicating that you need their agreement or understanding or acceptance, says once and stops because once is sufficient for final decision. After saying once, stop talking. Let silence hold the words. Let them sit with what you said. Let them process without you filling silence with more words. Let your single statement be complete communication. Don't add, do you understand? Don't ask, what do you think? Don't explain. I'm doing this because just state and stop. State once. Stop completely. Let words stand alone. Let silence communicate finality. Let their processing happen without you managing their processing through more words. Single statement plus silence equals finality, equals communication that's complete, equals decision that's stated without needing their response. Say once, stop. Let words do their work without you undermining work through repetition or explanation or seeking their response. Leave immediately after stating. Staying invites negotiation. Leaving enforces that words are action, not discussion. After saying words, leave. Leave immediately. Leave without discussing. Leave without waiting for response. Leave without explaining further. Just leave. The leaving is what enforces words. Enforces that words are action, not discussion. Enforces that statement is final, not opening. Enforces that you're choosing yourself, not seeking their agreement about choosing yourself. Staying after stating invites discussion, negotiation, them talking you out of decision, them promising change that prevents action, them manipulating you into reconsidering. Leaving prevents inviting, prevents discussion, prevents negotiation, prevents them having opportunity to talk you out of decision that's final. The leaving enforces finality. enforces through action-matching words. Words say, I'm choosing myself. Decision is final. I'm not available. This is what I'm doing. Leaving demonstrates words are true. Decision is happening. Unavailability is real. Action is occurring. Match words with action. State and leave. Leave immediately. Leave without opportunity for discussion. That's enforcing. That's making words real. That's communication becoming action instead of remaining talk. What happens after you say the words, how they'll respond, and why you must maintain boundary. Understanding what happens after saying words helps you prepare for response and maintain boundary. Despite response attempting to undermine boundary, they'll panic and try to negotiate, attempting to talk you out of decision through promises, requiring you maintain stated finality, despite panic. After you say words and leave, they'll panic. Panic will create pursuing. Pursuing will include promises to change, explanations of why you should reconsider, attempts to discuss, requests to negotiate, claims they'll do the work, insistence you're being unfair. All panic-driven responses, all attempts to talk you out of decision, all trying to negotiate final decision, all seeking to prevent consequence through promising different behavior. The panic is predictable. Is there responding to consequence? Is them experiencing, she's serious, she's choosing herself, she's leaving. I can't prevent this through usual strategies. Decision is final. The experiencing creates panic. Panic creates pursuing. Pursuing attempts to undo your decision. Attempts through negotiating, through promising, through explaining why decision is wrong, through making you feel guilty for choosing yourself. All predictable, all requiring you to maintain boundary despite panic and pursuing. Maintain boundary means don't engage with negotiating, don't respond to promises, don't discuss whether decision is right. Don't feel guilty for choosing yourself. Don't reconsider because they're panicking. Don't let their panic make your final decision not final. They're panicking. That's them experiencing consequence. That's appropriate response to consequence. Let them panic. Don't manage panic through engaging. Don't relieve panic through reconsidering. Don't prevent panic through discussing whether decision should stand. Let panic be theirs. Let pursuing be theirs. Let attempts to negotiate be attempts that get no response, because decision is final means final, regardless of their panic or pursuing or attempting. Maintain stated finality. Maintain despite panic. Maintain despite pursuing. Maintain because final means final, and panic doesn't make final not final. Let them panic. You maintain boundary. Both happening. Only yours is yours to control. Control through maintaining, through not engaging, through letting panic be consequence they experience without you relieving consequence, through reconsidering final decision. They'll use your caring against you, appealing to your compassion to soften boundary, requiring you prioritize your well-being over their discomfort. They'll use caring. Use it strategically. Use your compassion against you. Use appeals designed to make you soften. Appeals like, I can't live without you. I'm falling apart. You're destroying me. I need you. I'll change, I promise. Just give me one more chance. Please don't do this. All appeals to your caring, all designed to make you feel responsible for their pain, all attempting to make you choose their comfort over your boundary, all using your compassion to undermine your choosing yourself. The using is manipulation. Is them knowing you care and using caring to prevent consequence? Is them making you feel guilty for choosing yourself? Is them appealing to compassion to make you prioritize their feelings over your well-being? The appeals will work if you let them. Will work by making you feel, I'm hurting them. I should reconsider. Maybe I'm being too harsh. Maybe I should give them another chance. Maybe I'm responsible for their pain. Don't let appeals work. Recognize appeals as manipulation. Recognize using your caring as strategy to prevent consequence. Don't feel responsible for their pain when pain is consequence of their patterns. Don't prioritize their discomfort over your well-being. Don't soften boundary because they're appealing to compassion. Maintain boundary. Maintain despite appeals. Maintain by recognizing their pain is consequence. Consequence is appropriate. I'm not responsible for managing their consequence. I'm responsible for maintaining my boundary. My well-being matters more than their discomfort with consequence. My choosing myself is valid regardless of their pain about my choosing. Recognize manipulation. Resist manipulation. Maintain boundary. Maintain by prioritizing yourself. By choosing your well-being over their using your compassion to undermine your boundary. They're appealing. You're maintaining. Both happening. Only yours serves you. Maintain completely. Some will do the work and transform. Genuine change is possible, but requires sustained therapeutic work, not just panic-driven promises. Some actually change. Some use consequence as motivation. Use your choosing yourself as wake-up call. Use loss as crisis that finally drives sustained therapeutic work. Some seek therapy. Some do EMDR. Some commit to years of work addressing defended position. Some genuinely transform. Genuinely develop capacity to respect you. Genuinely become capable of honoring you. Transformation is possible. Is rare but possible. Possible when consequence creates unbearable crisis. Crisis that makes defended comfort more painful than work of transformation. Crisis that makes losing you more costly than doing therapeutic work. Crisis that finally motivates what you're explaining and asking never motivated. Genuine, sustained work addressing psychology, creating disrespectful patterns. If transformation occurs, if they genuinely do, sustained work creating actual capacity development, transformation serves their future. Might come too late for relationship with you. Might occur after you've moved on. Might happen when you're already with someone else who respects you without requiring consequence to motivate respect. Their transformation timing is theirs to manage. Your boundary is yours to maintain. If transformation happens, and happens in time, if work occurs and work creates demonstrated capacity change before you've completely moved on, you decide. Decide whether transformed capacity is sufficient. Decide whether person who needed consequence to finally do work is person you want. Decide whether their transformation earns another chance or whether transformation proves they could have changed earlier. If losing you mattered enough earlier, your decision, your choice, your evaluation, not obligation, not requirement. Choice based on your needs and your assessment of whether transformation is genuine sustained change versus temporary crisis response that will fade. The permanent truth about words that create respect. They disrespect you. You've explained. You've asked. You've set boundaries without enforcement. Nothing worked. Nothing created respect. Nothing changed patterns. Words that don't work. Words that explain without consequence. Words that request without requirement. Words that state boundaries without enforcement. All ineffective. All creating information without cost. All making respect optional. All teaching them disrespect is sustainable because explaining hurt doesn't create consequence for causing hurt. Words that work. Words that state choosing yourself. Words that communicate decision is final. Words that withdraw availability. Words that announce action regardless of their response. All effective because all communicate consequence. All make disrespect costly. All make your choice independent of their changing. All state what's happening instead of requesting what should happen. Say these words. I'm choosing myself. This is what I'm doing. I'm not available for this anymore. My decision is final. Say calmly. Say once. Leave immediately. Maintain despite panic. Maintain despite appeals. Maintain despite promises. The maintaining is what makes words effective. Makes them effective by proving words are action, not threat. By demonstrating decision is final, not negotiable. By showing choosing yourself is happening regardless of their response. The effectiveness doesn't guarantee they'll respect you. Guarantees you're respecting yourself by choosing yourself when disrespected. Guarantees you're communicating boundary clearly. Guarantees you're stating decision finally. Guarantees you're choosing your well-being over accepting their disrespect. All guarantees about you. None about them. They might change, might do work, might develop capacity to respect you, might transform through consequence, creating crisis that motivates work, but might not, might stay defended, might not do work, might not transform, might lose you through refusing to develop capacity to honor you. Either way, whether they change or don't change, words serve you. Serve you by creating your boundary, by stating your choice, by communicating your decision, by making respect non-negotiable through your choosing yourself when disrespected, instead of accepting disrespect while hoping for respect. Words that work aren't words that make them respect you, are words that state you respect yourself enough to choose yourself. Choose yourself when disrespected. Choose yourself through clear communication. Choose yourself through enforced boundary. Choose yourself completely. They respect you or they lose you. Either way, you've respected yourself. Either way, you've chosen yourself. Either way, words have worked, not by changing them, but by stating your change. Your change from accepting disrespect to choosing yourself. Your change from explaining to enforcing. Your change from requesting to requiring through choosing yourself when requirements aren't met. Say the words. Mean the words. Enforce the words. Choose yourself. That's what works. That's what creates either their respect or your freedom. Both serve you. Only one requires their changing. Other just requires your choosing. Choose yourself. Say words that state choosing. Mean choosing. Enforce choosing. That's what works. That's what serves you. That's respecting yourself, whether they respect you or not. That's respecting yourself, whether they respect you or not. Why the words work on avoidant psychology? Specifically, what makes these statements effective with defended systems? Understanding why these specific words affect avoidant psychology helps you see what makes communication effective with defended systems versus other communication styles. Avoidance respects strength demonstrated through action. Words matching behavior prove you're serious in ways explaining never proves. Avoidance psychology respects strength, respects it specifically when demonstrated, when proven through action, when words match behavior, when stated boundaries get enforced, when consequences stated actually occur, when final means actually final. The respect for demonstrated strength is what makes these words work with avoidant psychology specifically. Makes them work because words state action, state choosing yourself, state unavailability, state finality, and then you demonstrate. Demonstrate through leaving. Demonstrate through maintaining boundary. Demonstrate through not engaging with negotiation. Demonstrate through choosing yourself, regardless of their panic. All demonstration, all proving words are true through behavior matching words. The matching is what creates respect. Creates it because avoidant psychology doesn't respect words alone, doesn't respect explaining, doesn't respect requesting, doesn't respect stating without enforcing. Only respects demonstrated strength, only respects words proven through action, only respects boundaries enforced through consequence. You explaining how their behavior hurts doesn't create respect because explaining is words without demonstration. Is you sharing feelings without showing through action that feelings matter enough to choose yourself when they are violated. You asking them to treat you better doesn't create respect because asking is requesting without demonstrating that honoring you is required, not optional. You setting boundaries without enforcement doesn't create respect because stating without enforcing is words without strength. But words that state choosing yourself create respect when choosing yourself is demonstrated. When words are followed by leaving, when stating unavailability is proven through being unavailable. When final decision is shown to be final through not reconsidering despite their pursuing. The demonstration is what avoidant psychology responds to, what creates their recognizing she's serious, she means this, she's actually choosing herself. Words aren't threat, are statement of action happening, statement proven true through action occurring. The proven true is what creates respect, creates crisis, creates them facing that disrespect, now costs them relationship. That taking her for granted now costs access. That dishonoring her now results in losing her. All consequences they experience through your demonstrating words are true. Stated finality eliminates their control, removing ability to talk you out of decision, triggers their respect for boundary they can't manipulate. Avoidant psychology operates through control, through maintaining control of relationship dynamics, through controlling through withdrawal, through controlling through creating distance, through controlling through making you pursue, through controlling through keeping you hoping they'll change. All control strategies, all designed to maintain their defended position while keeping you accommodating their defended position. Your explaining doesn't threaten control. They control through listening without changing. Your asking doesn't threaten control. They control through deciding whether to honor a request. Your stating boundaries without enforcing doesn't threaten control. They control through violating without consequence. But stated finality eliminates control, eliminates it completely, eliminates their ability to control through usual strategies, can't control through withdrawal, because you're already gone. Can't control through distance because you created distance. Can't control through making you pursue because decision is final, regardless of whether they pursue or not. Can't control through keeping you hoping because you're not hoping. You're choosing yourself. The eliminated control creates crisis, creates them experiencing powerlessness, experiencing they can't prevent consequence through strategies that previously prevented consequence, experiencing your decision isn't controllable by them, experiencing they've lost control of dynamic. The powerlessness triggers their core wound, triggers fear, triggers panic, but also triggers respect. Triggers respect because avoidant psychology respects what it can't control, respects boundaries it can't manipulate, respects strength it can't overcome through defended strategies. Your finality is strength they can't overcome, is boundary they can't manipulate, is decision they can't control. The can't control creates respect, creates it through them recognizing she's stronger than my defended strategies. Her boundary is real. Her decision is final. I can't prevent this through usual controlling. The recognition creates respect for strength, respect for boundary, respect for person who's choosing themselves despite avoidance defended strategies designed to prevent choosing. The respect doesn't guarantee reconciliation, guarantees they recognize you as person of strength, person who enforces boundaries, person who chooses self, person worthy of respect, because person demonstrates self-respect through choosing self when disrespected. Your absence proves you don't need them, threatening their ego by demonstrating independence, creating desire to restore significance through respecting you. Avoidant psychology is built on defended independence, built on not needing anyone, built on belief that independence is strength and dependence is weakness. But belief includes assumption. Others need them even when they don't need others. Others will pursue even when they withdraw. Others will stay even when they're disrespected. Others need relationship enough to accept insufficient treatment. Your choosing yourself threatens this assumption, threatens it by proving you don't need them. You can choose yourself. You can be independent too. You can walk away. You can build life without them. You can be fine, better than fine, without relationship with them. The proving threatens their ego, threatens their significance, threatens their belief that they're needed even when they don't need, threatens their assumption that their defended position is sustainable because you need relationship enough to accommodate defended position indefinitely. The threat creates crisis about significance, creates them questioning. Do I matter to her? Am I significant? Is she fine without me? Can she actually be happy without relationship with me? All ego-threatening questions, all forcing them to face, maybe I'm not as significant as I needed to believe. Maybe she doesn't need me the way I assumed she needed me. Maybe my defended position isn't valuable enough to keep her accepting it. Maybe I'm replaceable. All threatening to ego built on assumed significance. The threat might create desire to restore significance, might create them wanting to prove they matter, might create them pursuing to demonstrate their worth choosing, might create them treating you better to restore their significance through your choosing them, might create respect as strategy to restore significance your absence is threatening. Respect born from ego threat, from desire to prove they matter, from need to restore position as significant person worth choosing instead of person whose disrespect made you choose yourself. The respect might not be genuine transformation, might be ego protection strategy, might be them treating you better to restore their significance, not because they genuinely value you. But respect is respect. Even ego-driven respect creates better treatment, creates them honoring you to restore their ego instead of dishonoring you while assuming you'll stay regardless. Either way, genuine transformation or ego-driven respect, you're choosing yourself created respect. You're explaining never created